Welcome to Coming In Hot. Thank you live from Airplay Beach for the intro music. We are recording live from Darling New Media Studios in Midtown Sac. All right, coming in hot peeps. We got a very, very special guest, a native of Sac Town, now residing in Miami. We got all right, I got to start over. Sorry.
It's all good, man. It happens.
All right. Welcome to Coming. Oh. Welcome to Coming In Hot. Thank you live from Airplay Beach for the intro music. We are recording live from Darling New Media's studios in Midtown Sac. Now, everybody, we got a Sac Town native on Zoom, but we always say it's in the building. We got Isaiah Holmes in the building over Zoom. What's up, Isaiah?
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. Let's get right into it, man. Like,
let's do it.
You know, I found out about you through a mutual friend of ours. Thought you had a dope story. Olympic trials as the Olympics are going on. I know you're not a winter guy, you're a summer guy, but wanted to get you on anyway, just to, have like a little theme about the Olympics. So a native of Sacramento, now residing in Miami. Tell us your story, where you're from in Sac, and how did you get to Miami?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the Winter Olympics, obviously going from Los Angeles to Miami, so winter is really not my thing. I like to stay nice where it's warm.
There you go.
Right now it's middle of winter. It's 80 degrees outside.
Beautiful.
Wearing some shorts and t-shirt. Beautiful.
Day. There you go.
So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Roseville, California, a suburb of Sacramento.
Roseville in the building, Placer County.
The Ville. Yes, sir. Went to Oakmont High School where I did 4 years, competed on the track team, basketball, football, just an all-around athlete. Yep. And then my brother was actually the star football player in our family.
Okay.
He ended up playing collegiate D1 football at San Jose State University. Mm-hmm. I like to think I basically went to San Jose State because I was up there every weekend hanging out with them, going to all his games and stuff.
Hey,
that was my first taste of college.
My best friend was at UC Davis, man. I didn't go to college myself, but I was up there getting kicked out of every frat party every weekend. Hey, let me back up a little bit. So how big was sports in your family? Because it kind of seems like it was a big deal because, your brother, star of Oakmont football team, and, you being the younger brother, how was that competitiveness between you two? How did you guys push each other to get to where you guys got to?
Yeah, let's just say that he stopped running track because of me, and I stopped playing football because of him.
Okay.
Yeah, we found that we both actually he started playing football at a really young age, and I wanted to play just so I could, we grew up in a very competitive household. He was always much bigger than me, stronger than me. So, I had to prove myself. I'm a middle child, so I had to fight my way out the trenches. He was the big football dude, and I tried to play some football. I was more of a speed and agility guy. He was a big, powerful, tall, physical receiver.
Okay.
So all I had to do was beat him with my speed.
Okay.
So using that speed, my dad convinced me to run track, and my brother started running track. We did that for about a year before I started seeing some success. And he decided to stick with football. I decided to stick with track, and the rest is history. But yeah, sports were always a huge, huge part of my family. I remember going every weekend, driving down to LA for my brother's 7-on-7 tournaments, or driving around the country, going to different track meets, or my sister's basketball games. She plays at a JUCO now in Folsom Lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just an all-around athletic family. I think my dad is just trying to live vicariously through us because he never played organized sports growing up.
Hey,
so this is his chance to get into it.
I know exactly. My career was over after high school, so My kids now, I'm like, I put them in everything. I'm just like, you got to just play everything and just try.
Yeah, exactly.
And
we did. We played everything under the sun.
Yeah. So, like being in Oakmont, especially in sports out there, because they go hard out there in Roseville sports. I think we played in a couple of Oakmont tournaments. I went to Mariloma, so those big cornbread dudes, man, they knock my ass around up there. Yeah, so so after high school, what was the move for you?
Yeah, so after high school, I was doing pretty well in track, to say the least. I was really fortunate, had a few scholarship offers. So I ended up, it was actually between University of Miami, Berkeley, and UCLA, and ultimately fell in love with UCLA. So I graduated from high school. A couple months later, on campus at UCLA, had a phenomenal freshman season. And then after that, my whole coaching staff got fired. And then my whole career kind of took an interesting turn after that.
All right. What was the move after that? So, you go on the, you're running track, right? And the whole, why did the whole coaching squad get removed? Was it they weren't producing? They were just looking for new talent? Like, what was the vibe out there?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the coaching staff, there was some stuff with the head coach that was going on. And then once the head coach gets fired, the whole staff gets sent away. Mm-hmm. So after that, they brought in all new coaching staff. They brought a new head coach. He picked his staff. And unfortunately, none of my previous coaches were selected as part of that new staff. So we basically had to start over. And then from there, this new coach knew little to nothing about the kind of athlete I was. So like we had some differences in training styles. So it took some time to kind of feel the gel, like starting to buy into this program a little bit. By the time I was finally feeling it, I ended up getting hurt. And then I got hurt, recovered from that. And then COVID happened. So I never really had a chance to like really show out other than my freshman year at UCLA. But that's actually what leads me here to the University of Miami. So after I graduated from UCLA, I had the opportunity to reconnect with the coach I had my freshman year. Dope. And now we're out here in Miami rebuilding. So since I've been with my new coach, or my coach my freshman year, I'm back to the performing the way I should be.
Hey, that's a great story, man. Like reconnecting with the coach. I'm one of those people where I was a freshman in high school, and I grew up in a tough neighborhood, Strawberry Manors, and we moved to Westgate. And Westgate school district was I either go to Rio Linda or Grant. So my mom was like, nah, because I was already like, doing a little bad shit, little shit here and there, hanging out with, the wrong crowd. So she shipped me off to Mariloma and put me into this it's called the IB program. So
very familiar.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not that smart, Isaiah. So I almost failed out of damn high school at freshman year until I had a coach, my JV coach, and still a great mentor to this day, Coach McConaughey, straight up told me, he's like, you're a great athlete. All you need is to get your grades up. And he promised me, he was like, Cease, if you hit those books, you will have a starting position on my JV team. And from that day on, I never failed another class just because he said that little thing. So was that kind of the same situation that you have with this coach? I'm not saying that you're failing, but what was that connection that you really had with the coach that you're dealing with now at the University of Miami?
Yeah, first off, that's a really great story, and I'm glad that you had that important mentor. And it just goes to show that the power the sports can have on individuals and ability to change lives. Yep. And it actually changed my life as well. Before I found out that I was actually good at a sport, college was never really something I thought about. And then it kind of opened the door to me and ended up going to one of the best universities in the country because of it. Yep. But like you were saying, the difference between the coaches is the love for the sport. So with my first coach, I fell in love with the sport. Like I loved track and field and loved doing the showing up to practice every day, the grind and all that. But then after that coach left, so did my feelings for track. Like I felt like I was just kind of doing it to do it and not really because I loved it. And which retrospect, it ended up being a pretty good thing because in those 3 years without the coach, I shifted my focus from athletic development to personal development. I got way more involved in campus and I found purpose outside of my sport. My grades improved drastically. I was more student focused than I was athlete focused, which I mean, it wasn't great for my athletic career, but personally I grew so much in that time. And then now being here at University of Miami in grad school, I have that balance of what it's like to fall in love with the sport and be competitive, but also be a great student. And I think it's all in God's time and things just kind of worked out in the way they did and I'm able to balance both. And then I think I could say that it's going pretty well so far.
Yeah, and you do something that I always tell small business owners is always take a step back and really look at the landscape of what you want to do. And it kind of seems like that's what you kind of hit on is, you're doing track, but at the end of the day, what is your future after track? And I see this happen with a lot of younger athletes that are very good at what they do. Like I got a few younger cousins in my family right now where, I see like their parents like pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. And, nobody 6 foot, nobody 230 pounds, rock muscle, like they're small. Yeah, we're going to have growth spurts, but what are you doing outside of, your football, your baseball, your basketball, your track to show your kids, okay, you could be a brand all you want, but who are you? I think, am I saying this right? You found yourself, you found your purpose on this journey from UCLA to Miami. Am I on the right page there, or am I just talking out my ass, Isaiah?
No, I do you're absolutely on.
Okay.
Yeah, we absolutely are on the right track here, and I think that, like I said, it's all in God's timing, and it kind of showed. When I was in UCLA, I was huge, or in undergrad, I should say, I was really big on like planning out my future, like every detail, like everything's gonna work. But I mean, I found out real quickly that the world doesn't work that way, and God's plan is gonna prevail no matter what, no matter how much plan you get, how many plans you did, whatever path you think you're gonna be on. If it doesn't align with God's plan, it's just simply not going to happen. So like along that journey and learning, connecting on that physical, spiritual, mental level, like it all helped me find that purpose and peace with myself.
Yeah, that's totally dope, man. And let me just ask you this, because like I said, my high school career was over, after my senior year, and I didn't go any further. How is that transition? Because I had some boys that, they're great, high school athletes, and then they hit college, and then they was the bottom rung over there. Kicked them right out the sport. You know what I mean? How was that transition for you, though?
Let me tell you, man, it is a humbling experience. Yeah, without a doubt. I came into college. Out of high school, I was US #1 in the long jump. So I was coming off a high horse, like I'm a good athlete. I'm a real good athlete. And I'll never forget this. I show up to the first day of practice, and I look over and there's this dude, he's just completely yoked, just sitting on the wrong runway. I'm like, who the heck is this dude? And it's like it's a grown man. I came into college at 17 years old. So like there's dudes on the team that are 23, 24 years old, which I'm that dude now, but but just looking at those guys, I'm like, I'm a child. Like these are like grown men.
And it was a humbling experience.
Humbling experience. I'll never forget showing up to the first meet, shaking my boots. Like these dudes have been like, these are some of the best jumpers in the whole world that I'm jumping against now. I'm not jumping against high schoolers.
Yeah. Well, but let's fast forward. Olympic trials. How did you get there? Was this always something that you wanted to do? Let's dive into the Olympic trials because it is the Olympics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Olympics were always top of mind. So going back to my freshman year when I was telling you I was with my coach. His name is Coach Jarvis, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was going into, shout out to my boy Jar. So when I was with him my freshman year, the goal was always, I'm going to the Olympics. Like that's what I want to do. I was completely devoted to the sport. Like, this is everything to me. I want to make it. And then, like I said, he unfortunately was no longer a part of the coaching staff at UCLA. So then in those 3 years after that, I was kind of like, it is what it is. I'm just going to do the sport. And then I come back this past year in 2021, I'm back with my coach. That flame is reunited once again.
Mm-hmm.
I started performing like an elite athlete again.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing led to another. And then I qualified for the Olympic trials after just my second meet outdoor season.
Oh, wow.
And things were rolling pretty well. I was getting consistent. And then after the NCAA championship, my coach said, Isaiah, you qualified for Olympic trials. If you want to stay here and train another 2 weeks, like, let's make a run for this thing. And of course, I was super excited. It's always been a dream since I was a child. And this past year, like having that flame reunited made it even more of a special experience now that I've more whole-rounded as a person.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, but how did they find you? Or is it just like you're running track in college and there's this Olympic, recruiters there and, they might be there one time, or is it specifically they're coming to see Isaiah?
That's a really good question. And this is actually one of my favorite things about track and field is that it's simply black and white. It's either you hit a mark or you don't hit a mark.
Okay.
So like when you hit them, like for example, I jumped 7.3. So that puts me on a list. And then from that list, they select who is eligible for the Olympic trials.
Okay.
And I just happened to be on that list, and they called my coach and said, hey, he's ready to compete if you guys register. And that seconds after the email was sent, I was registered.
Wow.
For the Olympic trials.
Yeah. Holy crap. Hey, congratulations, man. So what is that mindset? What's that process of getting to that Olympic trial? Like, is it just all day, every day in the gym, on the track? Like, what is that whole process? Because I don't know if you know, we got about 10 people that listen to this. Maybe one of them is going to be going to the Olympic trials. So what kind of mindset and processes do they got to put in place?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said it the best there. It's a process. Yeah. A lot of people like to think that it's just like you get a lucky break, but that's not how it works with elite athletics. At this level of the game, you got to be on discipline in every aspect of your life. It's not just you can go home, watch Netflix, and eat junk food all day, and then expect to come out the next day and break a world record. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works. We're talking nutrient timing, waking up at consistent sleep schedules, mindfulness training, yoga, stretching, rehab. It's a whole combination of things that come together that lead to elite performance. It's I'd say that the biggest part of it all though is consistency across the board. So
and like how many trainers are working with you? Do you have like a nutritionist? You got your regular trainer. I know you got your coach, but he probably has other athletes that he has to deal with. How many people are around you during this time where you're trying to get to the Olympics?
Oh yeah, it takes a village. It absolutely takes a village, and it's not just those who are working front hand with just athletics. It also is the academic support that comes along, student athlete development. Because the thing about being a student athlete is you still have to be a student. We're still in the NCAA, it requires us to have a certain GPA to remain eligible. So we have immense academic support to make sure that happens. And at this point, you have to try to fail in college, like with all the support system with tutoring, academic advising, and all that. So that's like on the thing that no one really talks about is all the support off of the track. But when we're talking about on the track, We have a full stacked coaching staff with years and years of experience, athletic trainers, PTs, chiropractors, massage therapists, sports psychologists, weights coach, nutritionist. And these are people that I see on a weekly basis.
Oh, wow. That's a great support system that you had there. So you get to the trials. What happened?
Oh man, that's a different story. Getting there to that point is more impressive a story, but yeah. So the Olympic trials was definitely not my best meet. I think I got caught up in the hype a little bit too much. I was, I guess, the deer in the headlights. I was like so in love with the moment. I actually forgot to compete. And it was like, I felt like a dream come true sitting there competing against some of the guys that I've been watching on TV my whole childhood. I go look to my right and it's the 3-time Olympic medalist that I'm jumping next to. And I'm like, wow, I used to watch your videos before every jump when I was in high school. And now here I am competing right next to you. So I kind of get that little starstruck, trying to talk to too many people, got a little too distracted. But I didn't do too bad. I got top 15. Unfortunately, didn't make the finals at trials, but it was just having that, just being in that space was a great start to my track career. And then now I know what to expect for the next time. I'll be a little more locked in and ready
that was my next question. Are we going to the next one? And I think you answered it. All right. If you need some training, I'll be there with you. I was want to go to the Olympics. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey man, you and me both, man. Hey, maybe you could
I can bring the podcast and have a little backpack. Like we're coming in hot with Isaiah.
Hey man,
you need a crew,
you can
bro.
Give yourself to Paris, man.
You need a crew.
You can find yourself to Paris. Man. We're in there.
Hey, I'll be on that damn flight. You gonna be like, oh, I thought we was just playing around. Nah, we here. Hey,
we're coming in hot.
Hey, let's back up a little bit because I'm on my healthy kick. What kind of foods were you eating during your trial? Like what kind of munchies did you get to have?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. And I was actually I had a really great training partner. Fortunately, her name is Michelle Atherley. She also was at the Olympic trials with me. She ended up getting 4th in the women's heptathlon, just barely missing the U.S. team. She's also an NCAA national champion in the indoor pentathlon. So she's a great, not only training partner, but also a great role model. And she taught me some things about meal prepping. So all through outdoor season leading up to Olympic trials, every Sunday, I'd go over to her apartment, we'd cook up meals for the week, which kind of varied depending on the week. We try to switch it up, but it was mostly informed through our nutritionist of like I mentioned earlier about nutrient timing, is making sure you're getting the right amount of foods, the right types of foods at the right time to optimize performance. So we're doing a lot of we have like a base of protein, carbs, and some kind of color, whether that's a salad, fruits, vegetables, but something that has a nice like fiber content to make sure that we're getting all the nutrients we need. But like to give you an example of some kind of meals we do, like sweet potato burritos, or we do like a nice chili with a salad on the side. And then we'd like make these large quantities of the bad boys, throw in the fridge, and then we're good to go for the week.
Oh man, sounds delicious.
Oh yeah, it was delicious. We just started again this past week. So I got some food in the fridge.
All right, cool. So, as an athlete, now you decided to start this hyphy LLC. What's with the hyphy LLC? Because we in Northern Cali, so we know a lot about the hyphy.
Exactly. It's actually it started. So my friend, his name is Naj Wycliffe. He was born and raised in Oakland. He's our co-founder. So that's kind of where the name came from.
Okay.
So the drink has come. I'm sorry. The company's come. We've made some twists and turns from its original inception back in, it was at 2018. So now we are 2022. We're just kind of going with it, but the company itself is focused and centered around mental health and mental wellness. It's like we believe so strongly in the importance of that, and supporting and kind of tearing down that stigma surrounding mental health. I'm sure everybody has noticed or experienced or known someone that experienced some mental health troubles over this past pandemic, or the continuing pandemic, and the feelings of overworked or overwhelmed, anxious, anxiety, or depression. Like, these are all things that have become an increasing problem, but not enough people are talking about. So we've taken it upon our mission as a company to tear down this stigma, kind of one product at a time. So our initial product is Juve, which is a enhanced sparkling water with vitamins and minerals that's supposed to increase focus, attention, boost mood, and give a little bit of energy too. And it's 0 calories, 0 sugar. And the idea of it is to like just give a little something to go get people through the day. But like the message that comes with the can is like, we want people to drink it and think about, I'm drinking this because I'm on a mission to increase wellness. Like that's the idea of it, is like to push the brand is wellness, like all the way through and through. So like, so our slogan is find your Juve, or Juve like that. So like the idea is like the beverage is like to find your flow.
Okay.
Like to like find your flow in your activity, to find your flow in your life. Like we just want to get people to, well, like get talking about wellness and get in tune with themselves.
No, that's dope, man. And one thing that we talk about here on Coming in Hot is mental wellness. I'm huge into it. Like, like I always tell everybody, and they probably tired of me saying this, but I got 2 sessions every Monday. I got one with my therapist, and this is my second one. Because I, being a minority in America it's fucked up. Straight up, like it ain't even, ain't nothing. That's yeah, no cap. See, I'm with the kids now. No cap. but nah, man, like that's dope that you're doing that. Like where are people finding this? Because like this is the kind of I heard it a little bit last week. But where are people getting this water from? Do you got to go to Oakland? You got shipping? Like how do they find this?
Yeah, we're still working on so we have the product fully developed. We're just right now working on our not operations, but our launch strategy to make sure that we have build up some hype around it before we go fully launch. So where the way it's looking right now is our headquarters are looking like they're going to end up in San Diego, California. Because that's right now is where my friend Naja, I mentioned, our co-founder, that's where he's going to school, and we think that's the best location to launch. So we're building up marketing materials, we're building up our inventory, but I think we're going to do our initial launch online. But you can follow us at Drink Juve on Instagram and Twitter. That's where we're going to be posting regularly. Right now we're doing a Black History Month series where we're talking about movers and shakers in the community that have really pushed the culture forward and enhanced society. So you can follow along with that as well. But that's where we're going to have most of our updates in terms of launch dates and new products that are coming out. And also going to find us on Instagram for a hyphy, or our main account, which is going to be Get Hyphy on Instagram. But yeah, that's going to be more of like the wellness side of things, and we might feature a few products here and there, but the main focus there is pushing out the message and knocking down that stigma.
That's great shit, man. And if you ever need me in any way, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know how much I can do for you, but I'm here for you.
It's a thought that counts, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. What about, the mental health within athletics? Like, how important is that? Can you talk to the people about your journey? Because there has to be something that it has to be something personal why you're doing this. So can you tell the people why mental health in your athletics is so important?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I can't even begin to start talking about the importance of the mind in athletics. I mean, it's in a sport, it's so individual, like track and field. It's just you out there, you know, like I don't necessarily have a team on the runway with me before I go and do a jump. It's just me, myself, and where I'm in my physical and my mental. That's all that's on the runway. So to tune that up and find the balance between the mental and the physical is absolutely crucial. But to take it back a little bit further before I get into athletics specifically is mental health has always been a really big part of my life. Is I've seen those really close to me struggle with mental health, including some really close friends and family. In fact, Naj can also attest to this, that my co-founder is he had his own personal mental health struggles and continues to have mental health struggles. So this is not just something that we want to do for the community, but we are internally motivated by this because we want to have a direct impact of those around us and ourselves. So it's very personal to us. But in terms of athletics, like I was saying, it's such a crucial thing, and I think it's kind of underlooked because people assume athletes, they're dialed in. You know, everybody like they're strong, but I mean, we have the same struggles. We go back to the same apartment as everybody else, same house, sleep in the same bed as everybody else, put our socks on the same way, you know, eat breakfast the same way. It's like we're human beings, but just because we're, you know, perform at the highest stage doesn't mean we're not susceptible to mental health struggles. And to stack on top of that, the stress and the pressure put onto us from fans and spectators and those close to us makes it even more difficult. For example, I do a little Instagram live talk with my friend John about just various topics within athletics. And then the last time we talked, we were talking about the extra pressure that happens after a big performance. And we had a guest speaker, a world champion, come on and talk about her experience with the world championships. And like after setting a world leading time or like setting a huge PR, like the expectation bar increases. Like you could be performing here like consistently and everyone's like, okay, oh, that's awesome. But as soon as you perform up here, this becomes no longer good enough. Like people say like, oh, that's okay. Like everybody's expecting you to be up here every time you compete now. So like that extra level of stress, it's sometimes can be debilitating. Like I can speak from personal experiences. This is actually where my athletic and mental really started to come together is after my freshman year. As I mentioned, I had such great success. So I was holding myself to that standard for the rest of my career. And once that new coaching staff came in, we were gelling and I wasn't performing up to that standard. Like I said, my love for the sport quickly dwindled. It was that like, it's hard to feel that same when like the sport doesn't make you feel good. And I just wasn't feeling that. And that's where I was very fortunate. There was this movement in collegiate athletics to get plugged in with sports psychologists. So we had a really good sports psychologist. He was also a sports psychologist for the LA Clippers. So I had a chance to sit down with him regularly. That was like my first introduction to therapy. And I was like, wow, this is extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Like very helpful. Like this is something that like, I feel like hasn't been talked about enough. Like I was growing up in a household where like my dad is he doesn't believe in like mental health stuff. Like he's a real like just go pray it out and like it'll be okay, which I mean that is a great one, but like I didn't feel like that acknowledgement of like mental struggles, you know. But like having time with the therapist and like actually sitting there thinking or like getting stuff off my chest and like hearing it back, like made me realize a whole lot of things and like build my confidence a whole lot on the track. So I was able to from that experience, you know, get back to where I was and work my way out of the slump. But like there's a huge connection between mental and physical.
Yeah.
And then you need the balance between both.
Exactly. And, you know, like one thing, Isaiah, you did the right thing, you know, like, cause I grew up pretty much in a family like that. It's like always just hold that shit in, be a man, like don't show your emotions, especially being an athlete. Like you can't never see, nobody can see you hurt. I remember my last basketball game, and we were up by like 20 in the playoffs, and we ended up losing, like a buzzer beater. And I just remember crying, and I just remember going back to the locker room and everybody looking at me like I'm, like suck it up, you know what I mean? Like, but it was my last game, and we just lost in, the worst fashion that you could lose in. And, like everybody, like, and then I went back to school and everybody, oh, you just out here crying, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you don't know how much that puts on somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know, but at the end of the day, like, at least you had somebody to go talk to. Like there was like back then, there was nobody was talking about mental health. And now, like, even like some circles I'll like hop into, and people are like still talking shit about, oh, like mental health, and everybody's on this self-care mental health kick. I want people to be on that kick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be something, a bandwagon kind of thing where, like it's not, people don't do it enough, and I feel like a lot of people, think their friends and their family are like therapists. They're not, like there's people that went to school for this shit. Go get a therapist, talk that shit through. Because one thing, your friends are gonna get fucking tired of hearing your ass. Your family's gonna fucking get tired of hearing your ass. I think that's why your dad said, go pray. You know what I mean? Like, I remember telling my dad, hey man, I'm seeing a therapist. And he's like, I'm too old for that shit, but you do what you gotta do. It's just like, you're never too old for it. You know what I mean? So, congratulations on your journey. Congratulations on, what you're doing with your mental health, with your self-care, with the hyphy in the hyphy movement, move, drink, like you're gonna have to send me some up here, man, because I got a few connections.
Oh yeah,
that I want to fuck with, so top 5, you ready for some top 5?
Let's do it.
All right, top 5 Olympic athletes of all time, in your opinion.
In my opinion, I mean, I gotta say Usain Bolt, hands down. I'm gonna say this one, Mutaz Barshim. He's a high jumper. He actually won the Olympics for the first time this past summer. I'm sure you've seen it. Is that him and the Italian dude? They tied for first place.
Yep, the exact tie. Yep.
Yeah, but this dude, he probably has jumped higher than anybody else in the history of the world, but just couldn't break the world record for whatever reason.
Okay.
So Usain Bolt, Mutaz Barshim. And I got to say, Carl Lewis, that dude was a monster.
Yes.
Got to give shout out to a long jumper, Mike Powell.
Okay.
He came back with the crazy long jump, broke the world record. UCLA alumni, fun fact. Number 5. I'm going to say Ivan Yukov. He's a high jumper out of Russia.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Most consistent high jumper in the game.
Top 5 songs while you got the headphones on.
Ooh, man, this one's tough. I'm more of a playlist guy, so I just kind of cycle through some random songs at a time. All right, but top 5, I gotta.
What gets you pumped? What gets you hyphy, bro?
All right, number 1 is gonna be "Mrs. Officer" by Lil Wayne.
Wee. That can't get you going.
Yeah, it gets me every time.
Yeah.
"One Dance" by Drake. That one. These are not in order. I'm just throwing out.
This is top 5, whatever you want to do.
Let's see here. "Missing You Crazy" by Russ. That was a good one. Let me throw some 2000s R&B in here. Man, I'm blanking on the name, but it's like, "I'll meet you in a logging cabin somewhere up in Aspen."
Oh, that's T-Pain.
T-Pain, yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, man, I'm really bad at this whole music Dang. Let's see here. Got one more. Well, I listened to recently.
No more Drake. No more Lil Wayne.
Oh, 6 foot, 7 foot by Lil Wayne.
There you go. 6 foot, 7 foot. Hey. Hey, that was dope, man.
I used to know the entire intro.
Yeah. Hey, what was that? The Carter 4?
Yes, sir, man.
Yeah.
I remember my
Carter
brother.
3. Carter 3. Yeah, that was a good one. That was one that was playing in my, man, I was bumping that for a while, man. All right. So we got it coming in hot. All right. So this is anything that you want to talk about, get off your chest. It could be funny. It could be political. It could be about the upcoming Olympics. It could be about mental health again. But Isaiah, it is time to come in hot. What you got, Isaiah?
I'm going to stick to this mental health and wellness because, as I said, it's something I'm really passionate about. But I want to talk to you guys about the importance of mindfulness and meditation. This doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just in a room, quiet, and just focusing on something, whether that's your breath, a water bottle across the room, something, just spending some quality time, quiet, listening to your body, I think is one of the most important things and most forgotten things to do. Is being present in a moment. And this will absolutely change your outlook on life, your current situation. It's just mindfulness and meditation is so important. And you can look at all the research on it, but practicing mindfulness and meditation actually rewires your brain and puts you more in tune with your body and your environment. Like it actually increases your levels of enjoyment of life, essentially, and focus and attention and all that. But if I could say one thing to anybody, is look into mindfulness and meditation. It's not as complicated as you think. It's just simple. Just breathe present. That's it.
And it's on your damn iWatch, everybody. So
yeah, it's on
there ain't no excuse. No excuse at all. I'm with you, Isaiah. And one thing that I do every morning, even before I hit the bathroom, I just take time to just go through my body, checking my points, hey, how's my shoulders feel? How's my elbow? How's my knees? Like right before I get up, just sit there in bed before I get up. Go ahead and, drop whatever you need to put out there, your website, your Instagram, any kind of other social media you got. It's your time. What you got?
All right, so I'm gonna shout out my personal Instagram first. Is Isaiah_Holmes_, my personal. And then I have a track page where I post all my track content. That's gonna be that_trek.kid_Isaiah. That's gonna be my track Instagram. I'll post pretty much everything on there, from practice, pictures, videos, my jumps. Sometimes I'll do little tips or whatever. And I'll always blog about my travel. And then big one is at Drink Juve, which is our beverage that we're going to be coming out here. Functional sparkling water, 0 calories, 0 sugar. It's going to be big. We're coming out with it. It's going to be it.
Hey man, this was an amazing conversation, Isaiah. Come back anytime. We got Mental Health Month coming in May. Maybe you could tap in. Maybe we could do a little round table. Just about mental health. And, with us colored folks, we got to be out there, and we got to be, we got to be locking arms right now, because nobody else is going to do it but us, for us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Hey,
I hear you.
Yeah, again, thank you for coming through, but for coming
in
hot. Thank you so much
for having me.
Oh, of course, man. For coming in hot. This is Chef Cec. If you want some of those delicious, beautiful, hot chicken sandwiches, www.nashandproper.com. You can holler directly at me at Chef Cec or at Coming In Hot Podcast. See you next week. Love you. Peace.